Shalom, my name is Adam Wasser from New York. Recently I attended the Israeli Day Parade in Manhattan, New York. The parade was fantastic. It was one of the largest. Hundreds of thousands of Jews attended the parade and marched in the parade, and I can't deny that I had tears in my eyes when I saw young Jewish people marching with the Israeli flag with pride and dignity. But there was a difference in what the parade was this year and what it was in the past. In the past, I had marched in the parade with Young Judea, a Zionist organization that has been around for about 100 years now, was under Hadassah. And Young Judea is a fantastic organization. I recommend it to anyone who is involved in the conservative or reformed movement, and it's a fantastic organization to get involved in. But years ago, when I was in Young Judea, I remember in the Mazkirut and in the election board, the idea of a two-state solution came about, and we had to vote because it was an organization, and we're young people between the ages of 13 and 18, and we had to vote whether we support the peace process or not. And I got up and I said, I do not support this peace process, and I am against it, and that so forth. But the thing was that people said, well, Hadassah, who is the main fundraiser of Young Judea, will force us to vote for this process. And I said, Hadassah, I support Hadassah and I respect Hadassah, but it is not right that Hadassah interferes in the Young Judea process. Nonetheless, Young Judea voted for the peace process, because in many ways Hadassah forced it upon us. Nonetheless, in the parade this year, about 90% of the people that showed up for the parade were religious right-wing Jews, and 90% of the people that marched in the parade were 90% religious right-wing Jews. And I don't have a problem with that. The issue is that the parade, the people that were in charge of the parade said that if you are an organization that is promoting boycotting Israel, if you are an organization that is supporting a two-state solution and pushing it forward against the settlers of the West Bank, Gaza, and Golan Heights, then you cannot march. So the UJAF, United Jewish American Federation, and Hadassah and other organizations were forbidden to march in the parade. Now, what happened was Hadassah didn't show up for the parade, and they just didn't want to have a conflict. But the UJAF and other organizations, they showed up. And it was a conflict. What are we going to do? We're going to have a fight, or we're going to just let them march? So they let them march, even though they weren't allowed to march. And it happened. And after the parade, there was a rally, there was a concert in Central Park, and there was a whole discussion about, they didn't have the right to march. We let them march. We can't allow, organizations like this to undermine Israel and undermine the Jewish identity of returning to the land and making it grow in the central part of the country. Nonetheless, the question that I had at the time was, is this right? Is this appropriate that left-wing organizations don't have the right to march? Now, let's be honest, most of the 99% of left-wing organizations are not Jewish, are not religious. So, by not allowing them to march, what does the parade represent? Is it a parade for religious Jews? Is it a parade for secular Jews? Or is it a parade for everyone, every Jew? The Israeli Day Parade, and I thought about this for the last 2 days. The Israeli Day Parade, in my opinion, is for every Jew. Because every Jew, whether you are right-wing, left-wing, conservative, reform, Orthodox, Hasidic, whatever you are, the parade is for everyone. Because the Jewish people, Israel, is every Jew. To deny them access to march is to deny a certain population of the Jewish idea. The denial of a Jewish identity. We as Jews are blessed with the opportunity that we're very into politics and that we are very opinionated. And we have to come to the idea that even though there are people that do not agree with us, and this is on both sides, whether you're left or right, we are one people, we are one family. And even though we don't always agree with each other, at the end of the day, we are one family. And we can't just say, well, because I don't agree with you, I throw you out. I don't allow you to voice your mind. I'm a right-wing Jew. I support the removal of the Palestinians from the West Bank and Gaza Strip and send them back to Arabia, not killing them, but removing them. But that doesn't mean that I don't support the idea that a Jew can give their opinion, their mind, to what is the solution. And every Jew has the right to give their idea, their opinion. I understand that the programmers of the Israeli Day Parade, they didn't want these groups to be involved in the parade. But at the same time, I'm against that idea, that we should not allow them to march because they don't agree with our opinion. Yes, the majority of the people that march since I've been marching for the last 20 years, the majority of people that have marched are religious. The majority of the people that show up for the parade are religious. But we must not be like Iran. We cannot be like a third world country that denies and does not allow another opinion to be heard. It's not the Jewish way. Especially in this modern time where we as religious people, we as religious Jews, must adapt and understand the secular world, not to become like the secular world, but to absorb the secular world and bringing people in to God and to Judaism. Because if we push them away, if we say, "The hell with you," they're gone. It's not going to happen. If you push somebody away, then they're gone. We cannot do this. This is unacceptable. I understand what the parade organizers did, but I think it was the wrong approach, and I hope, and God willing, next year, all organizations will be able to march. Now, every year in the parade, you have the Hasidim, the Nazi Hasidim that protest against Israel, and they say, Israel doesn't have the right to exist. And they always get this huge block where they can protest. I'll tell you, I'm in the Hasidic world, ultra-Orthodox world. I'm modern Orthodox myself, but I live in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and I go to Torah College in Borough Park, all Hasidim, and I can tell you that most Hasidim look at that group as not even Jewish, and they don't even accept them. They look down at them. They think they're disgusting. They're not even 1% of the Jewish population. But I would encourage say that when I go to the Israeli Day Parade, there's almost no Hasidim at the parade. There's almost no Misnagisha Jews at the parade, and that's really bad, because when everybody's there, it doesn't matter if you're religious or secular, when they see those Hasidim, Nazi Hasidim, whatever you want to call them, protesting against Israel, people will say, oh, the Hasidim are against the Lubavitch, the Satmar, the Breslov, the Nachman, they're all against the state of Israel. And that's not true. But because Hasidim do not come to the parade, because the ultra-Orthodox do not come to the parade, this is the idea. This is the look of ultra-Orthodoxy. And that's wrong. And more Orthodox Jews and more Hasidic Jews must come to the parade to show their support, not only for Israel, but for the Jewish people, to show that we stand together as one family. And I encourage every Hasidic person, every Misnagisha, Orthodox Jew, to come to the parade, the Israeli Day Parade, which is around June the 3rd, to come and show your support. And if it's not necessarily towards the policies of Israel today, at least you're showing that you support the Jewish people. Having a free place to live without the idea of persecution of other people. Before I leave, the Jewish people are of all kinds. We come black, we come white, we come Chinese. A Jew, you can't define a Jew as a color or a look, whatever it is, because we just scattered all over the world. And while we were in this world, we had intermarried, or we just adapted to the region, and we looked like the people of the region. But in truth, Jewish blood is real, and Jewish identity is real. And it doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, green, whatever you are a Jew. And if you're a convert, you were always a Jew. You just came back to the family. And the Israeli Day Parade is that identity, is that whatever you are, whatever color you are, wherever you come from, you are a member of the family of Israel. God bless you all. And let us love one another and respect one another, no matter what our opinions are. Because our opinions we should fight out, but we should fight them out in the Knesset. We should not fight them out through fist and blood. We should make it happen. You know, in the last 20 years, if the religious parties in Israel were united, if all the religious people and the right wing, Likud and all that, were united in Israel, Shas and all that, were one party, Israel for the last 20 years would be a religious party. I'm telling you, if you add up all the numbers in the last 20 years since Rabin in the 1990s, the religious and the right wing have always been the majority. But because they are fractions, and because they fight amongst one another, they're not the majority. They get it once in a while, but in truth, if they were united, if they were one party, they would be the majority. And it's very sad that we allow this to happen. You know, we're Jews, and we have the idea of what we want. Yes, there's details. There's always details. But in truth, we have a common goal. And we have a broad perspective of what we truly want. The details we can work out. If we can work out the details with the Palestinians, and we can do these little things with the Palestinians, we can do it with one another. But we can't do it with one another, and we must do it with one another. God bless you all. And next year, let us have an Israeli Day Parade that's for everyone. Every Jew. We might not like every group, and we might not support every group, but through understanding and talking to one another and communicating with one another, maybe we can have an understanding and a family that can work together. God bless you all, and have a wonderful summer. Amen.